First, I printed out the 7 colored sheets from the Dream Journal Page Kit. These are the various blocks that we're going to use to create the journal page. And there's different things going on here. We've got some titles and some quotes. And these blank boxes are meant for your own drawings or for text or for whatever you want to put in them. Or just to give a little visual relief to your page. Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of empty in a page that's particularly busy. Then there's figure silhouettes and some design blocks and smaller silhouettes. So you can choose from any of these to create your page. And there's some that are meant to go horizontally, and there's some that are made to go vertically. It's up to you how you want to lay them out. I'm going to work this page in a composition book, and this is just a regular comp book that you find at any dollar store or office supply store or big box retailer like Walmart or Target. And what I do to work in this book with wet media is use a glue stick to glue pages together. And this one is just stuck, but these pages, there's 4 of these pages glued together to create, there's another one that's stuck, to create a page that's sturdy enough to accept paint and gesso. To create my background, I gessoed this page just really loosely, just to give it a coat to sort of block out most of the page lines. But that's not necessary. You can go ahead and leave the lines in place if you like that look. And then I just squeezed some paint onto the page and used this makeup sponge to just spread the paint around. And you'll see that it's not very even, and I'm not really paying a lot of attention to what I'm doing. This first layer was a little damp, so it's not really accepting the paint right here. But this is very loose. You don't really have to worry about it too much because the way I'm going to do this page, there's not going to be a lot of background showing. And I sort of chose a color that coordinates well with the colors of my page elements, but doesn't really match them, so that I have a little bit more color variety as I go forward. So I'm going to let this dry, and while it's drying I'm going to cut out some of the page elements from these sheets and start figuring out how I'm going to lay them out. Now my background is dry, and I've cut out the pieces that I want to use and arranged them on the page. And I just wanted to mention, when I cut out the silhouette, it's really hard to get a nice clean line without any sort of white leftovers from the cutting. So I just used a Sharpie and colored in anything that was still white or that bothered me at all. And you can also use a Sharpie to run along the edge so that no white will show, which is something that always bothers me about working in paper, that when you cut something out, there's this white edge left around it. It leaves sort of a white halo around your figure or around your element. So just run a Sharpie along the edge and it will get rid of that. So now that this is all arranged the way I want it, you'll notice that I haven't used really any guidelines or anything like that. The pieces are sized to fit in this comp book. And if I needed a line, very faintly are still the lines of the book showing through my gesso. I could use those to line up the pieces. But I'm pretty happy with this, so now I'm going to use some matte medium to apply the pieces. And I'm choosing matte medium because I think it will be more secure than a glue stick, but you can certainly do this with glue stick. I just don't happen to have a lot of faith in the glue sticks that I have at the moment. So I'm going to do this with matte medium, and I'm just going to wipe this down. Oop, there's a place where my paint wasn't quite dry yet. I'm going to apply some to the surface of the page as well. And doing a layer on the back of the piece and a layer on the surface of the book will give better contact and better adhesion. And then I'm just going to wipe this down with the little bit of matte medium that I have left, making sure that I hit the edges. I'm sort of pushing out any air bubbles that I have underneath. Now I'm using laser printed pieces on 32-pound laser print paper, which is why I'm going to get very few bubbles and ripples. Usually when pieces ripple being worked like this, it's because the paper is too lightweight and it stretches as you work it. But this paper is pretty sturdy and it's not going anywhere. So everything should lay pretty flat. The only real ripples I'm going to get on this are from the, oops, ooh, got a little paint on this. That's okay. I'll just take a little matte medium and wipe it off. My paint's not quite dry yet. And then I'm just sort of really eyeballing this, making sure that the top edges sort of line up and that the side edges sort of line up. I'm not being a real fanatic about it, but you could certainly measure this out with a ruler if you wanted to, and do yourself some guidelines. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the other half of this and then come back and add the silhouette. So now I just have the silhouette left to apply, and I'm going to apply her so that she covers up that little bit of paint that got onto my piece. So just applied a little bit of matte medium to her and to the surface on which she's going to go. And now I'm just positioning her to make sure that she doesn't overlap any of the quote over here so that it stays readable. There. Now when this dries, I can use this block, this empty block down here, to write some text if I want to, or do some doodling of my own. And you can certainly go ahead once this is all dry and add your own drawings or writings or pen work to any of the areas over here. But this is a great way to whip together a quick journal page. It took me less than half an hour to put this all together, including the drying time for the background. Here's the finished page. The various blocks in this kit can be rearranged to create a journal page that's visually appealing to you. They can also be used to create single pages rather than double.